Hello and welcome to CTV News across Canada for Thursday, November 13th. We've got the top local stories from coast to coast, stories that affect you and the country. Thanks for joining us.
You might consider this the middle of nowhere. About 70 kilometers north of Fredericton, down logging roads, this is around the area where the Sisson mine was slated to be built. The government of New Brunswick has said it's home to one of the largest undeveloped tungsten deposits in the world. And while there were a couple of years of exploration and construction activity, for the last 8 years, these roads have gone quiet.
I got about a month's work out of it up there.
Sidney McKay says about a decade ago, he was contracted to haul gravel up to the mine site. He lives in Stanley, about 20 kilometers away, and believes the saying, between a rock and a hard place, accurately describes how the village is feeling about the mine.
It's hard. The boost to the community would most certainly be welcome, and then on the other end, the environmental impact of it.
The mine is back in the news because sources have confirmed to CTV that it's one of Prime Minister Mark Carney's nation-building projects, supposed to be officially announced tomorrow. Earlier this week, New Brunswick Premier Susan Holt alluded to the mine being included on Carney's list.
Yes, that's right. New Brunswick will be in the major projects list announced on Thursday.
Tungsten is a strong metal that has a high melting point, which makes it a desirable material to use for military equipment. Over the summer, Ottawa gave $8.2 million, and the U.S. Defense Department gave almost $21 million to the company behind the mine, Northcliffe Resources. Officials with the company have said that the mine could employ over 300 people and cost upwards of $500 million to develop. Laura Brown, CTV News, Stanley, New Brunswick.
Another busy day for volunteers filling shelves, a symbol of times becoming more dire for those in need in much of our communities. A record number of people reaching out for assistance again this month here at the Barrie Food Bank.
Overall, we're serving, last month was just over 8,100 people in the community of Barrie in 1 month.
That's a 16% increase from this time last year. The Food Bank's Fill the Gap campaign is now underway for the holidays. Staff expecting big demand in the months ahead and turning to the kindness of people to help out. But with the gap widening between real and living wage, those who can contribute are also declining.
It's definitely getting into an area where we're not really sure what next month is going to be. With November climbing above October already and December still a ways out, we're really going to count on this Fill the Gap campaign to get us to where we need to be.
The massive increase is being felt across the province. The cost of living is up across the board, people being stretched too thin. Minimum wage in Ontario is $17.60 an hour. The Ontario Living Wage Network says there is nowhere in Ontario where you can work full-time at that salary and cover all your costs.
For someone to pay their bills, to feed their family, to clothe their children, they need to be earning in the ballpark of $24.60 an hour to make ends meet right now in Simcoe County.
The United Way works on the front lines helping families in need. It says the affordability gap continues to widen, and many people simply won't be able to escape the challenges in coming years.
While we've seen some stabilization in the housing market and rental rates are starting to stabilize a bit, what we've seen is incredible inflation when it comes to food. Food costs are what's really driving this increase in cost of living right now in Simcoe County.
So the new campaign here at the Barrie Food Bank begins today, runs until December 31st. The goal is to raise $1.16 million and 580,000 pounds of food. Both of those are 16% increases over the numbers from last year to represent the 16% increase in demand. Rob Cooper, CTV News, Barrie.
At Clinique L'Agora in Montreal, patients are waiting to see their doctor. But come April 1st, this clinic may no longer be open.
This 30% reduction that's planned for April is the end for us.
Under Quebec's controversial new law, planned funding cuts could force the clinic to close down. Family medicine groups, known as GMFs, rely on funding from the province to cover overhead fees like rent, salaries, and equipment. At L'Agora, most of the patients who come here are the city's most vulnerable.
So I've been coming here for about, I think, 10 years now.
Doctors say they're worried about what this means for their patients if the clinic can no longer afford to stay open.
It's like we say in French, a cri du cœur. It's the last, words that we need to say to stop this law, to just make sure that our patient will have access to good care.
L'Agora is not the only clinic with an uncertain future. Several family medicine groups are also sounding the alarm.
And this was a cry for help. This is not a threat. This is simply a financial reality.
In a letter sent to 2 groups, including the West Central Health Authority of Montreal, obtained by CTV, 20 doctors say the GMF model is in danger of collapsing, and more than 400,000 of their patients could be without a clinic.
I'm saying this in desperation that hopefully the Ministry of Health will recognize this and step in. We can move past egos and hubris and do what's actually best for our patients, because if the GMFs close, the system collapses. And that's a reality we have to accept.
We reached out to the Health Ministry for comments, but did not hear back in time for broadcast. Sweeta Rassi, CTV News.
A metal cross marks the spot where 3 teens lost their lives following a lunch hour crash near Hanover on Tuesday.
It's just an unimaginable loss.
Around noon on Tuesday, a vehicle carrying 4 teens left a rural gravel road between Hanover and Durham, rolling several times, say West Grey police investigators. 3 of the teens were ejected from the vehicle and died on scene. Another teen suffered life-threatening injuries and was airlifted to a London hospital. All 4 were students at John Diefenbaker Senior School in Hanover, all between the ages of 15 and 17.
You can't expect it, you can't do anything about it, but, you know, we can come together and support each other. We'll support the school, we'll support the families any way we can, and we'll support each other as a community.
We're deeply saddened by the tragical motor vehicle collision in West Grey that claimed the lives of 3 young people and left another critically injured. Our hearts are with their families, friends, classmates, first responders, and the entire community as we all process this heartbreaking news, says a Facebook post from the Canadian Mental Health Association of Bruce Grey, amongst many groups and organizations offering condolences today.
Sadly, this isn't the first time this year that a school and community in Grey Bruce County has had to deal with this kind of tragedy.
In May, 4 students from Walkerton District Community School and their softball coach and teacher were killed in a crash north of London. Flags in both communities were flown half-staff today.
Similar heartbreaking loss.
For many of our students, staff, and families, we recognize that the shock and sadness they are experiencing may be compounded by recent tragedies that have occurred in some of our other schools. Much like those situations, we know that these students had many close connections and will be sadly missed by large networks of peers and staff, says a news release from the Blue Water District School Board. Now, late this afternoon, the West Grey Police shared that the condition of the 4th victim of Tuesday's crash has improved from life-threatening injuries to critical but stable. Some bit of good news on one of the darkest days in Hanover's history.
Our community is deeply saddened by this tragic event.
The school board says their tragedy response team is offering counseling to students this week and for as long as they need it. Counseling in the community is also being offered. In Hanover, Scott Miller, CTV News.
A full-sized bus similar to this one is what was taken for that joyride.
That's honestly crazy. It reminds me of the movie Speed. That's insane. That's crazy.
Hamilton police say it happened around 9 p.m. last night when the driver got out to take a break. The suspect got in. The 36-year-old drove a bus similar to this along the route, stopping at scheduled stops, letting riders on and off freely.
One person was looking to board the bus at the time and was turned away because their pass was invalid, and the driver made them pay the actual fare.
The joyride took the bus up Hamilton Mountain, with officers tailing it before bringing it to a stop on West 5th Street.
It comes off comically, but at the same time, it is a really serious matter. The person was driving a full-size HSR bus on our roads. There's pedestrians. There was at least 10 passengers on board at the time.
The entire incident lasted about 15 minutes.
They put them in jail.
I say it was crazy, especially when the bus driver's right there almost.
It was very dangerous for the passengers.
A statement from the city's transit division reads in part, "The safety of transit riders and HSR operators is our primary focus, and we are grateful that no one was hurt. We are fully cooperating with the Hamilton Police Service to understand how this incident occurred, and staff will work to implement any changes that would help prevent similar incidents in the future."
We're thankful there was no injuries, there was no collision. This person took a full-size HSR bus under their own control, and we're thankful that it wasn't more serious than it was.
Police say he was arrested on West 5th near Gateview Drive. Police say the 36-year-old was taken into custody without incident and is now facing several charges, including theft over $5,000, possession over $5,000, obstructing police, and driving while prohibited. Reporting live, I'm Allison Hurst.
Local leaders are announcing a federal investment that they say will improve addiction and mental health services in St. Thomas and Elgin County.
We have the great opportunity to celebrate a federal investment of $640,000 over 2 years through Health Canada's Emergency Treatment Fund.
Leaders say the investment will enhance local response to opioid-related harms through providing access to care and supporting culturally safe approaches to healing and wellness.
We will be able to make it easier for people to talk to someone when they need support most through faster, flexible, one conversation at a time counseling and coaching focused on what matters to them.
Elgin Ontario Health Team says the funding will expand its outreach so those struggling with addiction can receive help without any additional barriers.
We are also going to equip more local helpers with training in compassionate, trauma-aware care. So every interaction feels safe.
Local MPs say the funding speaks to the opioid crisis many communities across Ontario face.
The effect in terms of overdoses, the social effects, I think in particular about the breakdown of families that continues to happen, and of course the strain on services that we see, especially in our hospitals.
Mayor Joe Preston says he is proud to see community partners working together to make necessary changes in St. Thomas.
We've proven our mettle, if you will, at the provincial and federal level to say, well, let St. Thomas try it. They'll show you how to maybe do it right.
Leaders say today's announcement is just the beginning, and they will continue to work to put an end to opioid-related harms. Lauren Stallone, CTV News.
Waving flags and carrying signs, union leaders and hospital staff are calling on the Ford government to address what they say is a crisis at the North Bay Regional Health Centre.
They need to fund this hospital appropriately to make sure you and your loved ones get the care that you deserve.
Last month, the hospital announced 40 positions are being cut as it grapples with a $5.6 million budget deficit. 13 nursing positions are impacted under the hospital's belt tightening.
When you're looking at, balancing books, you shouldn't be balancing books on frontline staff.
Union leaders say they continue to see chronic understaffing and a high burnout rate within the hospital's walls. CUPE says data shows only 41% of emergency room patients at the hospital are admitted within the target time of 8 hours, and the average wait time is 17 hours.
It's going to be dire for patients in this community when this is the only hospital we have.
Along with long wait times, the union is highlighting further analysis that shows the hospital needs to add 120 staff annually to keep up with the growing patient volume. In a statement, Nipissing MPP Vic Fideli touts annual funding for the North Bay Regional Health Centre since 2020 has grown by $49.3 million, representing a nearly 20% increase. Thanks to these significant patient-focused investments, the NBRHC has confirmed that its long-term planning changes will not affect patient care or access to services in North Bay.
For him to say it doesn't affect front lines is fantasy. He hasn't had to look at a patient and say, I won't be back. We're short 3 staff today.
Union leaders fear funding shortfalls will lead to further investment in privatized health care. Eric Tashner, CTV News, North Bay.
5 months after this incident in Smiths Falls, when a woman with her hands cuffed behind her back was dragged from the back of a police cruiser before an officer forced her face into the pavement, that officer has been cleared of any wrongdoing.
I support my officers in this incident.
The woman was arrested after a reported assault at a home and later a disturbance at a business. Cornwall police investigated the Smiths Falls officer's use of force.
They had full access to all our cameras. There was in-car cameras at the business, body cam footage from a OPP female officer that was involved as well.
It was determined the use of force was justified.
Everything that led to him pulling her out of that car and ensuring that she stopped assaulting them. And it's never pretty. but it's the reality of policing. And some people won't like it, but unfortunately, that's the reality of the world in which we live.
The woman involved facing several charges, including 2 counts of assaulting police after allegedly spitting repeatedly and kicking in the back of the police cruiser.
I thought there was a better way of grabbing somebody than the ankles. I thought that was kind of rough.
But the incident at the intersection of Main and Beckwith Street back in June has stirred up concern in the small town.
I was taken back when I seen it. I thought, wow, that's harsh.
As part of its report, Cornwall Police suggesting officers in Smiths Falls purchase spit hoods.
They just are put over the suspect's head, and you can breathe through the hoods, and it just prevents police or anyone in close proximity to being spit on.
Chief Empey says the woman's case remains before the court.
Now, the Smiths Falls Police Service did not respond to our request for comment. On top of the 2 counts of assaulting police, the woman involved is also facing 2 counts of mischief under $5,000, 2 counts of failing to comply with probation, and 1 count of both causing a disturbance and uttering threats.
Alfie Baoy has been keeping himself and his kids inside their Seacourt area home all week.
We just keep inside the kids, and me also having an asthma, so we just keep safe inside. But I know it's not really good to stay outside, including that smell, and
That smell is coming from the GFL landfill just across the highway. A fire that started there Sunday is still burning, and people in the area want it put out.
If the smell is not good, we're staying inside because I don't want the kids to complain too, and then they get sick and all that.
After having quite a good summer, and then all of a sudden the smoke, because it was quite bad. The smell is so disturbing.
Parkland County says air quality is a, quote, paramount concern, and all efforts are being made to minimize the spread of smoke. It says specialized industrial firefighting contractors have been brought in, but the fire is expected to burn for some time. People we spoke with say they want the fire to be put out quickly, but are unsure where to go for help.
I don't know who to complain, but just like I said, I just been keeping my kids and myself also inside.
Pediatric respirologist Dr. Ann Hicks says toxins in the air could have serious short and long-term effects.
In a landfill, you would be releasing toxins from things like plastics that are burning. And you also worry about heavy metals. So things like mercury and lead and stuff that would absolutely be potentially in paint or old, you can imagine old housing materials.
Hicks says staying inside and limiting exposure to smoke is the best thing you can do. Alberta's environment minister says the province monitors cases like these across the province.
When we do have incidents we need to look into, our department does that in coordination with other departments, often with forestry and parks and public safety.
Parkland County says the cause of the fire is under investigation, and the landfill will remain closed until the fire is put out. Gates Gore and CTV News, Edmonton.
The judge in the ongoing trial of a man accused of Misha Pavlik's death continued to deliver instructions today to the 12-member jury. Pavlik died after being fatally stabbed at a high school graduation party held at a campground near Last Mountain Lake on May 21st, 2006. Justice Catherine Dawson provided a lengthy list of instructions to jurors, which began on Monday due to the large amount of evidence presented over the past 3 weeks of proceedings. One of the key directions to the jury was to deliberate with caution when discussing some of the witnesses who testified, as parts of their testimony may be incriminating or helpful to the accused, as several of the witnesses were considered suspects in Pavlik's death or friends of the accused during the nearly 20-year investigation. However, she said that does not mean their entire testimony would be unreliable. The judge also told jurors how they must decide to charge the accused, whether he is found guilty of second-degree murder or manslaughter, or neither. In order for the accused to be found guilty of second-degree murder, the Crown had to provide evidence the accused had the intent to cause death or bodily harm to Pavlik. Jurors can decide the accused is not guilty of second-degree murder, but is still guilty of manslaughter, which is a homicide without intent. The jury has now been sequestered as they work to reach a verdict. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Regina.
As police, firefighters, and paramedics surrounded the building at Nelson and Expo Boulevard, disbelief. An 8-year-old, well known for her smile and precocious nature, was dead.
Till the end, I was hoping that she's alive. I was telling everyone, please pray for her, but absolutely no hope.
Police say the child was on the 23rd floor when she fell Tuesday afternoon and landed on the 7th floor balcony.
She was smart. She was really sweet. She loved dogs.
Family friends came to see what they could do to help. The girl was staying with her father.
Amazing guy, fantastic person, and I couldn't believe what I saw yesterday. He was running, just running around and just shouting and just asking for help.
What's not clear is how this happened. Police are now talking to witnesses and reviewing surveillance footage.
It's horrible for everyone involved, especially the family. So we're being sensitive to that. We're working with the family, and we're determining what led up to this.
The 8-year-old loved to swim, loved animals and Slurpees.
She was telling me, oh my God, I have a brain freeze. And I said, oh my God, this is okay. Just drink slowly.
It's unbelievable. Like, I think we're all still in shock. Like, it feels like a dream almost.
Everything was done to try to save her, but the fall was just too great. St. John Alexander, CTV News, Vancouver.